Yeah, so here we are. It's a fast turnaround. We're sitting here on a Monday. Obviously we played on Saturday, got back in, and went right to work yesterday. Gave the guys the day off because we have a quick turnaround, 5-day turnaround. So obviously coming off a disappointing loss, the best thing that happened though was just sun coming up this morning, getting right back on the practice field. So sometimes that's your best medicine, is getting right back at it after it. Guys had a great attitude today. You always you assume they would, but you never know. And I tell you what, I was really proud of the guys and the way they practiced this morning, and they're ready to get going. So Sam Houston will present some challenges this week. Coach does a good job, and they're like a lot of programs, had a lot of success last year, lost a lot of people, got a lot of new bodies in the building. They're trying to find their way. They played a really tough schedule, though. I mean, when you look at their schedule, when you look at the teams that that have gotten them so far, Western Kentucky's off to a good start. UNLV's off to a good start. Obviously Texas is Texas. They played some really quality teams. Hawaii's off to a good start. So, they're scrappy. They're going to play hard, and we got to find ourselves. One of the these last couple of weeks, we get to about that 12-minute mark. Actually, both our last two games, we get to that 12-minute mark, and we are in a close ball game. A very winnable football game, and it hasn't swung our direction. So we got to do a good job of making it swing our direction this week. Take care of the little things. We got to do a better job of putting the ball in the end zone when we get opportunities. I think last week we had a first down on the 19-yard line. We had a first down on the 48-yard line, and we had another first down on the 23-yard line and got 0 points out of all of those, So those are things that we've got to do a better job with, And then obviously defensively in the back end, we had some issues, and those are things that we got guys that are more than capable of taking care of. They're working on them, and they'll be tested this week against Sam. So I'm excited about it. I thought our front played extremely well on Saturday. We did everything we needed to do in the box defensively to win that game. I thought we were we were really physical. So that was really good to see. That needs to continue. A little banged up right now, Tyler Martinez, he'll be out this game. Wheeler is still out, and then DeJohn Stanley will also be out. So those three guys are out. So it's kind of been one of those, musical chairs a little bit. Just kind of been hit a little bit with the injury bug, but we'll find a way. We've got plenty of depth. Guys like Tory pops right on in, makes a great hit, causes a fumble in that game for a scoop and score touchdown. So we've got some really good dynamic guys that have stepped up. So I'm excited about Thursday. It's an opportunity to get back on the upper end of the win column. Here we go.
Question. Just because you mentioned Tyler and DeJohn, TK, just another what's the latest with him?
He's fully cleared now, ready to go.
You think he'll play on Thursday?
Yes.
Yes.
Sony good or?
We don't know yet. He's questionable. We're assuming most likely, so hopefully that works out. He ran around today. He looked good running around. So tomorrow we'll practice him and see how he looks.
How are you guys trying to do this week? You guys got a short week, but Sam Houston's coming off like 12 days of rust or something like that. How are you guys trying to deal with it and get?
It is kind of crazy when you're on that short of a turnaround and they're on a long break. Honestly, we handled it a little bit differently. Normally, Sunday we come on in, left, watch film. Monday's our off day. So what we did, we just gave Sunday off. We came in, we had a shorter practice today. We're out there for 80 minutes. We'll do a normal practice tomorrow and then walk through and go play. So it's one of those deals you just got to grind. You know what I'm saying? As a coaching staff, you're not going to get as many reps. You know what I'm saying? So you do a lot of stuff that you've already kind of installed. You got to kind of pick from that menu, and you're just not as you're not adding as much as you maybe normally would in a game week.
Gavin and Tory, just from a player's perspective, obviously 5-day turnaround. Just what kind of how do you guys kind of feel about the challenge that you guys have ahead? Gavin, we'll start with you first.
Yeah, I mean, coming in, we came off our second loss, which we know was easy. We should have won that game. So I think our mindset coming to this week with the quick turnaround is, we got to go. Everybody's going to be banged up, and Sam Houston is coming off a bye. But I think with us playing this past weekend, it kind of already has our bodies ready. So now it's just you got to go out there and we have to do what we got to do to win this game.
Tory.
Taking off what Gavin said, I feel like coming off this game, we can say that we did this or we were just close to win this game, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So we just gotta keep building on that. What Coach Sanchez said, we lost the game, but we came in today and we kept working. We didn't get down on each other. We kept working today and picked it up.
From a quarterback perspective, maybe you got to watch a little more film on Logan compared to the last game. Just I guess anything else you've seen from watching, and just how confident you are on him being the guy going forward still.
No, 100%. He's the guy. I mean, it's not even a question. When you watch the film early on, he was getting beat up. I mean, we did a poor job of protecting him, and as you watch that kind of first quarter unfold, I mean, he got knocked on his rear a bunch, and it kind of happened throughout the course of the game. So it's one of those deals where we got to do a better job of protecting him. You get a little antsy back there when your protection's breaking down. So he did some really good things. I mean, obviously there's little things like throwing the ball away, when there's nothing there, and keeping yourself in manageable third down situations. There's a couple of times where we took sacks where probably could have gotten rid of the ball, but he also made some really good plays too. So it's one of those deals where we're fully invested in him. He's a tough guy. He's done a really good job. I mean, he's given us opportunities. And I mean, heck, you go back just a couple of weeks ago, and with the ball in his hand, how many third downs did he complete on the way to to that Tulsa win? You know what I'm saying? So we're fine with those guys, and and now getting the guys like King back and. Graves, he looks like he'll probably end up being back, So we're starting to get some guys back, add some more, more weapons around him. We just got to do a better job of protecting him. Obviously with the changes in the O-line, you have two starters that are out, and we were already a little thin there with experience. Those guys, but they did good in the run game. We just got to do a better job protecting him, but he'll be fine.
What are some things that maybe you and Canova are trying to do in order to protect Logan more and trying to be good despite the bench?
Just got to execute at a higher level. The scheme's a scheme. It's one thing if the scheme's breaking down, you got free runners. It's not that. It's just you got to win your one-on-one. It's your 111th. So our guys are growing up right in front of our eyes, and again, they've done it. They've shown they can do it. They did it on Saturday at times, early on. I think that we had some guys who needed to settle down again, first time in kind of that raucous environment. It was a great environment on Saturday, and they'll be better for it.
Tory, linebackers a place where Sioux State's really banged up right now. And of course, Tyler's already out. Sony's questionable. He might not play. How much pressure, I guess, is upon maybe you and Quincy, maybe Zayden coming up and getting some more snaps on you guys trying to fill that, especially when, in a 4-2-5 defense, both your starting linebackers are already out?
Sure. I feel like the standard is the standard. Like, regardless if we had to go get somebody from the scout team, like, with our coaches being good, I feel like, everybody getting reps, standard is standard. We got to uphold the standard, whatever it is.
Just Coach Sanchez, to lose Dijon for Thursday, it looked like, I know running the ball is something you guys want to establish.
Yeah.
Just to kind of lose them, how big of a loss is that for Thursday? And I guess what's the plan moving forward at that spot?
Anytime you lose a good player, it's a loss, right? But like Tory just said, we've got a lot of good players on this roster, you know what I'm saying? So we'll be fine. We've got guys back there, Kadarius, he had a good game. He had a bunch of explosive runs, and we actually lost Stanley early in that game. So again, you'll see Biggie. Biggie will do a great job. Gans is, he's ready to go now too. So we'll get an option back there. You got Lorenzo. He had, he's carried the ball in big games before and made big plays. So we're confident in that group.
How just I guess for Coach, how much of a refresher is it to be able to come back home after 2 away games on a short week and be able to play kind of in front of your own fans and maybe get a little bit of a boost even though you guys are a bit banged up?
Yeah, anytime you play at home, it's great. I tell our guys at the beginning of the year, it's like, you got to win at home. You know what I'm saying? You take care of your home field advantage, you win those games. It changes the dynamic of your entire season. And you got to go scrap and find some on the road, But it being a short week and us coming back from Albuquerque on Saturday with a 3-hour bus ride, that's so much better than being on a normal away game. We were heading to an airport and flying back and getting in at 2 o'clock in the morning. That was advantageous, for this situation, So I'm glad again, it's tough being on a 5-day deal when someone's coming off a bye week. But if it's going to happen, I think that was a perfect weekend for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, and our guys will have juice. Again, they're, we got this new facility. It'll be the first time that we've come out of this new locker room, playing here at home, just infrastructurally. Just having an area to be able to talk to the team and, coaches being able to address them. That part that'll be nice. So we're excited about it, and we're excited to be back here at home where the Cowboys are.
Coach, do you look at the quick turnaround as a positive thing since you guys have a chance to get back in the win column sooner than usual?
Yeah, you know how it is. It's one of those deals where it's all how you message it. You know what I'm saying? If it was a 7-day deal, we'd message it that way. 5 days, it's like the end of the day, that's one of the beauties about this season is that you're going to be in uncomfortable situations. You're going to have comfortable, more comfortable situations, more advantageous. In a couple of weeks, we're going to go ahead and head onto the road where Libby will be on a short week, we'll be on a long week. It's just to me, it tests your grit. We talk about being tough. We talk about, having that mentality, that gritty mentality. We're going to find out if we have it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not time to talk right now. We're sitting here coming off a rivalry loss, right? It stung, it hurt, right? Is what it is. Man up. Let's get back out there. Game on Thursday. Let's get ourselves back in the win column.
How big is it to just have the national exposure that you go on Thursday? You're the only game in town, and then here at home, so people get to see you at Memorial Stadium, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, Conference USA has us repping these shirts, for these these midweek games. And I'll tell you what, when we sat down in Destin with all the other coaches, and we go over with the Conference USA officials, and they talk about the viewership we get for these games. I mean, you look at it, and it's pretty impressive, the amount of TVs that'll be turned on. I mean, you're sitting there and you're getting close to 1 million, households watching, and that's a pretty big deal, for our conference. So I think for these guys, it's great. National TV, be on the spotlight. There's not a lot going on, in the middle of the week. I think there's one NFL game that starts a little bit before us or something, but you'll have quite a few people going back and forth, and there'll be some midweek games where there's no other football games going on. So we're excited about it, and what's cool for our players is everybody they grew up with, everybody in their neighborhood, guys they played with, no matter where they are in the country, are going to be able to flip on the TV and watch them play. So that's a cool thing. It's it's good for our university. It's good for our conference.
Just to build on that, Gavin and Tory, just what kind of goes through your head right now, knowing what kind of opportunity you guys got on Thursday with national TV exposure, and just it's still a football game at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, man, it's definitely a blessing. I mean, all eyes are gonna be on you, but it's no bigger than any game, no smaller than any game. I mean, you got to go out there and execute, just do what we do in practice. I mean, not think about all the eyes that are on you, because at the end of the day, you still got to do your 1/11th, and y'all got to go win this game and get back in that column.
Tory.
I feel like it's a great opportunity. I mean, them being on a bye week and us coming off a rivalry game, I feel like it's a great opportunity for us to go out there and get back in the win column.
Can I ask what you guys, Tory and what your guys' kind of mindset is right now? Obviously, the last 2 games haven't fared your guys' way, but you're still 2-2, sitting at 500 with a lot of football to be played, and bowl game chances still alive. So, just what's kind of running through your guys' mindset from a player standpoint?
I feel like with us, I feel like we just as players, I feel like we just got to come back together, and once we get back together, I mean, I feel like nobody can stop us. So.
Yeah.
I know exactly what team we can be and what we're working towards, and we're getting there slowly but surely. But I think that I want to say we gotta be a little bit more precise and locked in at practice than what we are, and then once we get that, I feel like we'll be a force to be reckoned with. That nobody's gonna be able to stop us, because I feel like, especially offense is a game of confidence. Once you get your confidence, you feel like nobody can mess with you.
What are some things that are kind of maybe you feel like you guys can improve going on in practice and maybe be more focused, like you just talked about?
I want to say probably definitely protecting the quarterback. I mean, everybody can say that. Being sacked 10 times in a game, it's not normal at all. So protecting the quarterback would be our number one thing, and then establishing the run. I feel like we established the run this game a lot more than we have in the past. We were popping for 10 yards, 15 yards, and then after that, I feel like everything else we're doing is fine. I feel we're great in the passing game. We're definitely threats down the field, and I think that's what everybody knows us as right now.
And then for you, Gavin, just every time you talk to Logan about trying to clean up the turnovers that you had this season, you had another one against UNM, almost at a second. He always says, "Well, I gotta play more in structure. I gotta trust my teammates. I gotta trust my coaches, and basically not put so much pressure on himself." Basically, what are some things that you guys as pass catchers maybe try to tell him when he tries to do that, or maybe tries to force something and trying to basically stay in the structure?
I mean, it's kind of Logan's an older quarterback, so we know he knows what he's doing. It's just he really just has to trust his reads. I mean, play his game. You can't once your mind starts going everywhere else and starts racing, it kind of throws you off. So you just you got to make sure he's calm him down. The offensive line, they got to make it known that they're going to protect him and let him stay on the pocket and do what he does.
Tony, Coach Sanchez, just your takeaways from what you've seen from Sam Houston so far this season.
Again, it's you've got Hunter Watson is a really good quarterback, and he did a great job last year, but they were a different offense. They were more of a power read type offense. Now they're getting into more of the spread. They want to throw it around. I mean, that's kind of the DNA. That's what Coach does. Coach Longo, that's what he's done his whole career. So you see that transition that's occurring right there. They offensively they return a handful of offensive linemen, but all the other skill around them is all brand new. And defensively, they're almost their entire defense are transfers in. So there's a lot of new bodies and a lot of things you're watching over there, and they're settling in. I'll tell you what, they play hard, they compete their tails off. They run the football on defense. Offensively, you look early in the season with that Western Kentucky game, they spit out some really big runs. Watson had a big touchdown run. Running back, he got out. So, they're more than capable. I mean, they're always right there. It's just, they've gotten away from them at the end, So they'll be well coached. They'll come in and be, they'll be fired up. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be fresh coming off, a bunch of days off. And, they're trying to do what everybody else is. It's a long season. Sometimes we got to fill the writing columns and the airwaves and things like that with things that are going on. But like I told our guys today, it's like 2 years ago we were sitting here and we were 2-3 and ended up 1-10 games. And they're sitting there and they're 0-4 right now. Well, guess what? There's 8 games to play and they can turn it around fast. And we're doing the exact same thing, fighting our tail off just to get right back in there and try to, that first goal, try to get bowl eligibility. You know what I'm saying? So you're sitting there and man, you get a win, you're halfway there. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things going on, but there's so much football to be played. The story isn't even close to being over yet.
Coach, just a message to fans. You guys still searching for your first conference win of the season. Just message to fans what's coming out on Thursday.
Yeah, well, it's on our second conference game, so it's just like, yeah, if you're a fan, you're coming out to every game, you know what I'm saying? It's you ride or die, you know what I'm saying? If you're an Aggie fan, if you're an Aggie faithful, it don't matter, you're going to be here. It's been a lot of lean years. I'll tell you what, there's probably in the last 50 years, there's probably been only like 3 or 4 times where we've been 2-2 at this point, So it's like we got a lot of good things ahead of us, but now it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to go and scrap. We're going to have to make plays. That game's going to be a tough ball game, just like every one of these last 8 that we got to play. So, we keep our wits about us. We go out there, practice hard, don't make excuses, get better at the little details. We'll be fine and get going.
What do you think some of the biggest keys to stopping that air kind of attack that Sam Houston likes to go? Because, Mongo, his DNA, like you said.
Yeah. Well, a little different, when you watch this last game we played, if you're sitting there and you're going like, oh man, a little nervous. I gave up a bunch of explosives in the back end and stuff. Most of those were off the play action pass. We didn't play with great eyes. This will be a little bit different in the attack, but we'll get the eyes calmed down. The guys, they've watched the film. They understand what we need to get better at. With these guys, it's going to be tackling in space. They're going to spit the ball out to the backs like crazy. They throw more swings than I've seen anybody else throw. And really all it is sweep. They're just tossing the ball to the boundary, trying to make sure you can tackle on the edge. We've got to do a good job there. They're going to try to take the top off here and there. They're going to play with pace. So they're going to go fast, you know what I'm saying? And again, off a short week, it's hard to get a bunch of reps at that. But we've seen it, tomorrow we'll do our burst period and get our guys lathered up and going again. But the biggest thing is we're going to have to tackle in space. That's one of the biggest things they do is they try to just get the ball into open areas and see if you can tackle them.